What is up, New York Giants fans? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Tommy's Takes. Very special episode of Tommy's Takes. I'm your host, Tommy G. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. Thank you for that. Please like, subscribe, hit up the channel. Tons of content coming out. Check me out on Twitter, TommyG105. Big game for the New York Football Giants. 5 consecutive years starting 0-2. The streak is over. It's dead. It's buried. The Giants go into Tennessee versus a perennial playoff team and knock them off on a last-second missed field goal. Really unbelievable when you think about it. Let's get right into it. First off, first half was rough. Seemed like the Giants were playing their 4th preseason game instead of their first regular season game. There were penalties. There were sloppy plays out there. The offensive line had a devil of a time stopping the Titans, especially Simmons, the defensive lineman for the Titans, had a field day in the Giants' backfield. Daniel Jones struggled as well. But listen, when it comes to a team like this, when a team is rebuilding, you expect that. You expect those mistakes. You expect those flaws in the offense and the defense. What you don't expect is for them to come out in the second half and not only take the lead on what was, I have to say this, one of the gutsiest calls I've ever seen a head football coach make in my life, in any level, any sport, to go for that 2-point conversion right there with a minute left when you could easily tie the game and you could say, hey, we're a rebuilding team. We fought to the end. If the Titans get a field goal to win it, we're happy. We'll take the moral victory. Well, you know what? There's no more moral victories. He said, we're going for 2. Trusted in his team. Trusted in Saquon Barkley, who I'm going to get to in a little bit. And the New York Football Giants took the lead with a minute left. Unfortunately, as has been the case with the Giants for better part of the last decade, it's never easy. Titans basically march right down the field, aided by a couple of defensive holdings. Darnay Holmes, tough drive. I'm a fan of Darnay Holmes. I loved what he did at USC. Coming into this season, I kind of had him as one of those standout players that would kind of break out. Very tough drive for Darnay Holmes. Almost single-handedly gave the game away. But listen, when you make plays and you put yourself in a position to win, good things happen. So people out there, I'm sure, will say, hey, it was good luck for the Giants. They probably didn't deserve to win. It was a shanked field goal from a great kicker in Bullock. But when you make those plays and when you score touchdowns instead of field goals, when you make those decisions to go for 2, those are the plays that help you win games. And when you make those plays, guess what? Good luck happens. And the New York Giants got some good luck. Bullock pulled a 47-yard field goal wide left. Giants spilled onto the field in celebration. Rightfully so. This team has been, through some tough times. Obviously, new ownership, new leadership, new head coach, pretty much a lot of new across the board. And they said, you know what? We don't want to lose. We don't want to start the season 0-1. We don't want to have to hear all week about the possibly 6th consecutive season going 0-2. And they didn't. And they showed guts. They showed moxie. They showed bravado. And the field goal missed, and it was shanked. And the New York Giants are 1-0. And I think their fans should be very excited. I think they should be locked in for the rest of the season because this team just went on the road on opening day, beat a playoff team in the AFC, the Titans, stopped Derrick Henry, pretty much took Derrick Henry out of his game, which was kind of shocking to me because you're watching the game and, most of us analysts, content creators said, hey, if the Giants could stop Derrick Henry, Giants are going to win the football game most likely because the Titans don't have a great wide receiving core, and that's an even matchup with the Giants secondary. But nevertheless, the Giants did struggle somewhat on defense. They still got a narrow victory. When you really look at it, the catalyst for this game, and when you really think about Saquon Barkley in his career, gets drafted number 2 overall by Dave Gettleman. His 2018 season, rookie of the year, breaks the Giants' receiving record, over 90 catches, highlight after highlight reel touchdown, and then it just kind of tailed off. 2019, he played well but was injured. 2020, he was injured. He obviously had the ACL. 2021, never seemed to really get back fully healthy. He was close. He had the Saints game where he had a couple touchdowns, won the game in overtime. Eerily similar to today. But then the next game, he almost breaks his ankle versus Dallas. So I think today what you've seen in Saquon Barkley is a player that hasn't been healthy for pretty much his whole career here. And if this is a healthy Saquon Barkley, and this is what the Giants are going to see for 17 games, a lot of fans out there that don't want him re-signed and, hey, we shouldn't invest a lot of money into the running back position. You know, they get old quick, they get injured, yada, 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 and so forth. Guess what? If this is the Saquon Barkley that we see, he will be coming back to the New York Football Giants. And you could talk about Joe Shane being shrewd, and I agree with that. And you could talk about all those things. Saquon Barkley carried this team to victory today, almost single-handedly. Jones struggled, had a couple nice plays, started really slow. Jones, to me right now, and, kind of seems like a quarterback that has been shell-shocked, has been behind bottom 5 offensive lines his whole career, has been injured his whole career on and off. He resembles that quarterback now. When you look at him in the pocket, shaky, sometimes sees ghost. There was a play in the fourth quarter, I believe it was a third down, where bailed out of the pocket too early. I'm just going to be honest. He bailed out of the pocket too early. I believe it was like a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 play. Got tackled 2 yards short of the first down, and Giants had the punt. Then you have a great drive, and I know this had to be infuriating for Giants fans. You have a great drive in the fourth quarter. You drive it down inside the 20, inside the Titans' 20. Close game, everything right in front of you to grab it. And I'm not sure what the play call was, but he tried to hit Barkley on kind of a outside, fly route, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if there was miscommunication. I don't know what happened. Whatever happened, I'm sure will come out later in this week. Terrible throw, terrible decision. That's a losing football throw and decision right there. Barkley had no chance of catching that football. It's intercepted in the end zone. And it was very likely, I believe there was around 8 minutes left, that the Giants might not have gotten the ball back. If the Titans could have ripped off a 6-7 minute drive, that game's over. And Daniel Jones is really feeling the heat. He had some good plays, but what you've seen from Daniel Jones in his career is kind of what you've seen today. He gets in his stride. He hits his rhythm. And just when you think he's about to hit that mark and turn it up a notch and go to the next level, he has the crippling turnover. And those crippling turnovers have to stop. He was stripped for a forced fumble in the first half. Not necessarily his fault. The Giants' offensive line did not play well today by any stretch. I actually think they did an okay job run blocking. Pass blocking was non-existent. But still, Jones has the 2 turnovers, 2 crippling turnovers. The forced fumble got the Titans in Giants territory with the ball, and they got points off of it. So Daniel Jones is going to be in a unique position the rest of the season, because if this team continues to play like this, with fight, with hunger, remarkable how they shut Henry down, that swagger, Daniel Jones is really going to stand out, and it's not going to be in a good way. And, I'm someone that's been a proponent of, they've done everything to screw Daniel Jones up. Everything, from the bad offensive lines, from the misdrafting, you could count countless things they've done to screw Daniel Jones up. But the time is now, right? The time is now for the quarterback of the New York Football Giants. You cannot not throw that interception in the end zone right there. If you want to throw it up in the corner of the end zone, and I know Jones was kind of saying to Daboll on the sidelines, and I seen Daboll going after Jones on the sidelines. He seeked him out, and he was like, what do you, I didn't know the words, but he was basically along the lines of, what was that? And Jones could be seen uttering back shoulder. So it wasn't a back shoulder because Barkley never really stopped, and there was no magic chemistry between them. If you want to throw that ball up in the back of the end zone to Kenny Golladay, if you want to throw that ball up in the back of the end zone to even Sills, throw it up to those tall, big guys. But you're not throwing that pass to Saquon Barkley. And this is the problem with Jones. It's almost robotic. It's almost like, okay, this is scripted. This is where we need to go. This is what we're going to do here. And this is what I'm going to do regardless of what happens. He should have never thrown that ball. Pull it down, run it for a couple yards, and you live to fight another play. He's very lucky that the Giants had the opportunity to get the ball back, tie the game up, take the lead with the 2-point conversion, and ultimately win, because if not, he's looking tough out there. I do want to go back to Saquon Barkley. Racked up a ridiculous 194 yards from scrimmage, 5-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. and obviously the two biggest 2 points of the day. Really remarkable, and he ran strong, he ran quick, fast, smart, hit the holes properly, accelerated, chose the right holes. The Giants' offensive line did a solid job of run blocking. Like I said, the pass blocking was bad, the run blocking was solid. Barkley found his holes. The Giants also were benefited by a muff punt by rookie Kyle Phillips that was recovered by Giants safety Jason Pinnock. Gifted the Giants, the underdog, the chance to tie with 10 minutes left. But listen, I also want to give a shout out here to Wink Martindale. This defense goes into this game with the daunting task of stopping Derrick Henry. Not only do they have that daunting task, they're missing edge rusher, outside linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau. They're missing edge rusher, outside linebacker Azeez Ojulari, arguably two of this defense's most important players this season. And they gave up big plays. They gave up some, the last drive was tough with the penalties. But all in all, when you look at this game in a nutshell, in a snapshot, the defense did a really good job of containing the Titans' offense. Henry tried to go up the middle. Nothing was there. Leo, Dexy did a great job. Dexter Lawrence. They tried to get Henry on the outside. Ward did a great job of corralling him a couple times. Tay Crowder, who struggled this game, especially in coverage, had a big hit on Henry that I felt kind of set the tone for the Giants' defense. So I think all in all, with the Giants' defense in a nutshell, I thought they did a pretty good job. There were a couple plays. Dontrell Hilliard had a couple of big plays in there. But all in all, Giants were in a position to win late in the game. They pulled it out, mostly because of Brian Daboll's call and Saquon Barkley. When you check precedents for a call like that in a game like that with that much time remaining, it's really unique. And again, Barkley, had the 68-yard run up the left sideline in I believe it was in the third quarter. Scored on that drive, was a 4-yard touchdown. Then you have the drive after that where, Jones hits 65 yards to Sterling Shepard. That's awesome to see Sterling Shepard back out there catching touchdowns. He had the Achilles injury last season, so that was nice to see Shepard doing that. And you've seen some positive things from this Giants offense. I did like the play calling for Mike Kafka. I thought the play calling was pretty good. It picked up in the second half. When you've seen some, you've seen a couple reverses, you've seen them get Tony involved. And speaking of Tony, what happened? What happened to Kadarius Toney today? So I think it's like late in the second quarter, and he has 1 rep on the field. By all accounts, and correct me if I'm wrong, he was healthy, wasn't on the injury report, fully dressed, fully out there, but you barely seen him. So I'm really curious. Obviously, this recording is right after the game. I wanted to get this content right out to you guys after an exciting, exhilarating victory for the New York Giants. But what happened to Kadarius Toney? Was there something behind the scenes? Was he benched? Was he hurt? Is he still dealing with injuries? That's something as a Giants fans to keep your eye on this week and going forward, because these are issues Kadarius Toney had last season when he got to training camp, and he had the issue with his cleats and he couldn't practice, and he had several personal days, and he was injured, and he was missing, and it was all shrouded in this cloud of mystery. And you basically come out today, opening day, great vibes, great energy, everyone's excited, Tony's healthy, he's ready to go, and the game starts, and you got Stills out there and Galladay out there and Shepard. Speaking of receivers, Wan'Dale Robinson goes down early in the game, unfortunately. Giants have had terrible luck with injuries. He's a critical part of this team, even though he's a rookie. He did some great things in the spring and summer and preseason. Really tough to see him go down with the injury. And listen, when you want to really look at what happened today for the Giants as a Giants fan, you're looking for a couple things. And I said on Twitter today, give me a well-coached football game today, right? And there was a moment, it was right before the Giants scored the touchdown to get within 1 point, right before they decided to go for the 2-point conversion. And I looked on the screen, and I seen something really miraculous on the screen. The Giants had all of their timeouts on the final drive of a football game. And think back to last season with Joe Judge. You were lucky to have 1 timeout on the last drive. So that's what you want to see. You want to see great coaching. Roster-wise, everyone knows this Giants roster is thin, lacks talent in some areas. You've seen the linebacking core get exposed today, which was not great to see. Austin Calitro, Tate Crowder had some tough reps out there, especially in coverage. Both were exposed in coverage. But you've seen good coaching. You didn't see bonehead coaching moves. You didn't see wasted timeouts, wasted challenges. You've seen Brian Daboll, as the leader of that football team, go up to Daniel Jones after he threw that ridiculous interception and say, essentially, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but that can't happen. What happened there? And that's what this team needs. They need accountability. They need to respect their leader. Their leader needs to respect them. I was highly impressed by Brian Daboll's debut with the Giants today, even outside of the gutsy two-point conversion call. So you also go back to, I wanted to dig into a minute, special teams for the New York Giants. So Joe Judge, previous Giants head coach, was a special teams coach. Special teams really still struggled during his tenure. You come out today, you have a bad snap for an extra point opportunity blown. You have a busted coverage on a kickoff for a huge kickoff return that luckily wasn't a touchdown. Special teams going to be a problem. And when you have a team that lacks depth, when you have a team that's young and rebuilding and struggling, you cannot have special teams be a catalyst in a loss. Special teams, and listen, maybe the special teams doesn't help win. That's fine, because special teams is mostly predicated on having depth on a team, a football team, and that depth plays on special teams. So when a team doesn't have quality depth, you really have some low-level guys on special teams. But can the Giants not have a special teams that kills them? Almost killed them this game. And that would have been backbreaking to lose this game by 1 point off a muffed extra point because of a bad snap. So, but ultimately didn't happen. Like I said, Daboll with the great call, 2-point conversion. Titans drive down the field. Bullock shanks the kick. Game over. Giants are 1-0. They're not going 6 straight seasons, 0-2. But there are still some concerns. We'll dig into that more during the week. When you really look at it, Jones was sacked, I believe it was 4 times in the first half. It was actually, now that I think about it, Jones was sacked 4 times in the first half on the first 4 drives. Obviously, the most costly was the strip by Jeffrey Simmons. Bud Dupree recovered it on the Giants' 42. Simmons beat rookie Josh Azudu. He had a tough game. And it was also, Giants committed 3 holding penalties, one on the tight end, one on Glowinski. It was multiple holdings on the defense. That part, coaching-wise, needs to be cleaned up. You cannot go into a game and you're playing a good team, you're playing a perennial playoff team, and you're having holdings and you're having penalties and you're having issues like that. That just can't happen. You have to clean that stuff up, and I'm confident they will. And when you think about it being the first game of the season, you have a ton of positives as the New York Giants to look to. But you have some stuff that needs to be cleaned up. I think defensively, you'll see some improvements once you get Aziz back, once you get Thibodeau back. I think the defense will play a lot better. There was very little pass rush today. You had the play early by Zimenez where he goes to sack the quarterback, drops back, gets kind of stuck in between and doesn't know what to do. So you want to see less of that, and you will. And I think as time goes along with this team, you'll see them improve. Some roster issues here, Austin Calitro, who, I've been supportive of, Dan Barry's finest, was tough today. He got beat on a Hilliard touchdown on the first drive. He got beat a couple times. But I think all in all, as a Giants fan, when you look at this game in a nutshell, what you've seen was Saquon Barkley healthy, running hard, grabbing chunks of yardage. You've seen a young, inexperienced defense step up on several drives when they had to. You've seen a coach that's not scared to believe in his team and to make it happen. And you've seen a team that's 1-0. And that's the most important part. In the NFL, these victories are so hard to come by. If you look at the mathematical equations of teams making the playoffs after starting 0-2, it's bleak. And that's why the Giants have not made the playoffs. That's why they've had these terrible starts. And it all starts with coaching. And the Giants made a lot of changes in the offseason. They cleaned house, essentially, but were still strapped with cap issues. And they did what they had to do, even with the cap issues. So if you're a Giants fan, celebrate tonight. Be excited. You've seen some great things out there. Most importantly with Saquon Barkley, I'll say it again, he was absolutely phenomenal. He looked like a superstar out there today. Big shout out to Saquon Barkley, all the health issues he's had coming back. So the Giants are 1-0. What's next? Carolina Panthers are sitting waiting at home. Giants will be at home for the season opener. Can the Giants start 2-0? Can they build? Can that defense play a little bit better? Can Daniel Jones be a little bit more consistent? Can he cut down on those costly, debilitating turnovers? That's the key. And if Jones could play better and his defense could step up, who knows what happens with the Giants this season. But that's it for me tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Tommy's Takes. Have a great night.